Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to our May 15th Surrey Police Board meeting. We would like to respect and honor that our work is done on the unceded traditional territory of the Coast Salish people, specifically the Kaitsi Kwantlen Simiamo here in the city of Surrey. With that, I would like to thank all our directors and all of our staff for being here this afternoon. Any of the public, if you're online, appreciate you being online. With that, I would like to call our meeting to order. In favor? Oh, thank you. We have a conflict of interest disclosure. So if anybody has a conflict of interest with any of the agenda items, now is your time to speak. If there's none, we will continue on. Adoption of our agenda for May 15th, 2025. All in favor? Passed. Adoption of our minutes from April 17th, 2025. Favor? Passed. Thank you. Presentations and delegations. We have one presentation, and I will turn that. That was community first, and that is a presentation by Chief Lipinski and Sergeant Dale Queering.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll start off, and I'll have Deputy Lesage introduce Sergeant Dale Queering. Community policing is very important to us. The community engagement, that's where it all starts. And especially as a brand new agency, have to connect with the various groups throughout Surrey. And so what we did is we in fact formed a unit to do that. Sergeant Dale Queering is heading that up. I'll ask Deputy Lesage to make a few more detailed comments, and then we'll start the presentation.
I'd like to introduce you to Dale Queering. I think Dale, he embodies, I think, the mandate of the community first that we'd set up, engaging, building, maintaining trust and relationships with organizations, groups, and peoples who have historically had a difficult relationship with the police. I think that is Dale. So when I think of that mandate, that's exactly what I think. So I'll turn it over to Dale and you can get started.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, board, for having me. Great to talk about community policing with the first unit. Very passionate about it. This slide here I always use first because it's from a street accessibility event that we've gone to for the past 2 years. It's for disabled folks. We can randomly select a neighborhood in Surrey that they go to, and we do pre-trip or treatment beforehand. We set up a booth, and we have the car there. Policing characters want to take a picture with me, so I always put it up when I start. Whenever I do presentation. Next slide. So our unit, small but mighty, 3 folks. I have Constable Michelle and Constable Obi. These 2 ladies work very, very hard. Not only for our programs during the week, but in many events that we go to on the weekends. So they volunteer, they do it. They put the time in, and they're very motivated. They have a lot of energy, and they are wonderful at engaging, especially our vulnerable folks. Next slide. A mandate of the unit. The unit engages with the entire with the city of Surrey. Our mandate is really to work with those who historically have us discussed. Now, that could be many diverse communities, but we typically work with other folks who have a cool relationship, not great relationship with the community, but we're trying to build those bridges. Kind of like that connection stairway that I like to call it. We have to start, with the active listening, compassion, and empathy, which I'll talk about. But if we build and work up that stairway, what does it lead to? Connection. Building trust with the community. Listening to all voices in the community is our motto. We have it on our tent and we have it on the car. And I'm so proud of the Surrey Police Service for being able to put this on our car. Okay? Because there's nothing like it in Canada to have listening to all voices in the community on the car. Sometimes those voices, they can be angry, they can be sad, they can be joyful. It doesn't matter. You have to be comfortable. Be uncomfortable, right? No matter who the voice we listen to. Next slide. So the community first unit, 3 pillars. Active listening, compassion, and empathy. Those are our 3 pillars that we work with the community. Community policing is not a philosophy. It's a culture. It's a culture in our organization and outside. How we treat each other in our organization with the active listening, compassion, and empathy. We want to reflect that in the community. How we work with people, especially with those historically have a mistrust with the police. Next slide. This is not an exhaustive list. How do we reach those vulnerable communities? To reach those communities, trust us. Not even like us. Right? We have to do that, but we got to reach them somehow. And we reach that through the connection. We reach that through the activists, the empathy, the passion, the engagement first and not enforcement first. That's how we reach folks. Now, it's not easy, but it takes time. It's one relationship at a time. But understand that the community first unit, we are not working in the silo. So we build these relationships and work with folks so that all patrol folks, members of our service, from patrol to major crime to traffic, when they interact with folks in these communities, we're treating them all the same. So it's not like I just want a community first member to deal with me. I want to make sure that our pillars are throughout the whole organization with all our police folks. This is not an exhaustive list, but it does take up quite a bit of our time with the folks that we work with every month. Excellent. Engagement versus enforcement. Certainly we have to enforce it. Certainly we have to give out traffic tickets. Certainly we have to do it. But how we talk and engage with people first instead of that enforcement part is key. And I'd like to talk about that because in the community first unit, we talk to people, we listen to people. People very much value that. We're not here to solve anything, but people really like it if you listen to them and they felt listened to. That's where you build the connection. And that's where the engagement part comes in first. If you have to enforce something after that, hey, I got to give you a ticket, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, it's fine. But if you engage first, listen, talk to listen, passion, and then go to the enforcement part, you'd be surprised that the interactions stay a little calmer and you can actually work through this. Yes. So I'm going to talk about some of our major community events we go to. There's just two. Certainly, we went to a Black and BC event with Diverse City. It was great, cultural event, different artists, musical. I think they had some music acts there as well. It was a great event. They were a bit cool to us at first when we walked in, but then again, it's that connection piece. It's that engagement piece. Because by the end, and it was like the uniform really wasn't so much of an issue, right? And where it was maybe at first. But again, engage first. Walk in, use those principles. Misaki, crazy. Over 500,000, right? Like walking through, we didn't have enough stickers, swag. There's no way we could have, but what it was a great time for engagement, right? And just getting to know people and setting up our tent, taking pictures, and just talking to a variety of folks. Next slide. This is not an exhaustive list. This is just some of the major events that we have now, Community First, has attended in the last couple of years. From the Santa Claus Parade to, we've done block watch parties, 8 Strong Unity. I will talk about Pride that's coming up because we are still one of the only major police forces in Canada that's invited to the Pride celebration. We've had a great relationship, C1, with Surrey Pride. They've embraced us, invited us. We'll have our booth there again this year. Okay, we'll be in uniform and we'll be working with an organization called Out Patrol out of Vancouver. But we are still one of the only major police forces in Canada invited and embraced in the Pride. Next slide. This is our polo players that we have this year. You can see on the slide. What's very special about this event is that we've embraced it that we wanted to do it on the weekends so that we can have the families come. We can have more members show up. So it's great to have as many police officers and first responders. But this was really the first time that a lot of members of the community who I work with Special Olympics said, this is the first time we've ever had it on the weekend where I could actually come and bring my family and stuff. So we changed it to the Saturday. And we did it. And we had police officers, first responders. And you can see this was our second year doing it. Costa Michelle did a wonderful job. It was at Crescent Beach, and we want to have that there every year. So everyone. Next slide. We do a variety of presentations. That, again, not an exhaustive list. Many presentations were actually overwhelmed. It's nice that we have the Community Partnership Support Unit now with the volunteers and civilians to help us out with that. So we work together, again, to connect with the community. Tons of presentations, a small unit of 3. We do the best we can. And I do quite a bit of them in the community as well so that we can highlight great stuff that SBS is doing. Next slide. Coffee with the Community. This is our signature event. So this is an event that organically I created for SBS. I wanted to take away from coffee with a cop and change it to coffee with the community. I wanted to change that power dynamic. So obviously we know with Coffee to Cop, you might go to a Starbucks or a coffee shop and you have 7 or 10 police officers in there. And the residents are supposed to come in and interact. Well, that can be kind of daunting, especially for our vulnerable folks. So what we did is that we brewed the coffee at HQ and we partnered with the local Goodwar from Puff. We brought it together and we went to the Surrey Food Bank and asked them if we can come every Thursday. And we have been a staple at the food bank now every Thursday morning from 9 to 11. We have Surrey Crime Prevention that helps us as well. And we do coffee. And now we're also at coffee at Cloverdale Kitchen, which we do bi-weekly on Tuesdays. And it's all for folks that are there to get their supplies, their needs, food, whatever it is. Yeah, these are vulnerable folks, right? Who typically would not come to Coffee with the Cop. So we bring it to them. And that's how you connect with the community. You go to the community, you serve the community, right? And you listen to what they have to say. And this has been, I mean, we work inside, we help distributing food. We become part of the Surrey Food Bank family. And that's the best part of it. Next slide. Street Fit. Surrey Urban Mission, again, District 1, working with folks who are living on the street, working with folks who have substance abuse issues. Well, we created with the executive director something called Street Fit, where Chuck Bailey Stadium, Chuck Bailey Recreation Center, once a week we go and we hang out, we play sports with people from the street. And this is now turned into also a clothing food drive that we're doing on Friday with them. But for some, for the Surrey Urban Mission, the first day I went there as an SPS officer, they had the door locked. What are you doing here? After that, as we work through the activist meeting, what we talked about, and we work through some of these programs, now it's like they embrace it. I walk in uniform, there's no issue. Because we're not there to enforce stuff. We're there to engage. If we have to enforce, we will. But now they know that when we open and come to the door, C1 or any police officer in SCS is here to engage with us. Next slide. Walk the beat Wednesdays, simple old style policing. Walk the beat, right? You'd be amazed at what residents want to tell you because they may not phone, they may not call on emerge, but they're there. They see us walking, they're going to be talking. And I hate the fact because I'm 55 years old and I went into a community center and there was a seniors discount for 55-year-olds. That was not good. So I'm not going back. No. Walking Wednesday's been great on social media. People really like that as well. Next slide. So for seniors with the Cloverdale Community Kitchen, we volunteer. We transport meals to seniors. Why? A lot of these seniors are vulnerable folks in our community. They're isolated. They're lonely. They love receiving a meal from a human being. They talk about issues. And I'll give you one example of why this is such a great initiative. You know, friends, family members, we haven't seen Betsy. The meals have been piling up at the door. They come, it's like, we know the neighbors and they're like, you know what? You know, Dale, I think we start better looking at wellness checks for Betsy because she's down the door. And they trust us because they know we're there. And we're looking at, we're serving deals, we're being part of the community. So you can start those wellness checks with them and really start to engage with them. Next slide. Age Strong Unity. This is a workout class that I do with this community. It's a young South Asian guy from BBC. He started this out of his garage where he was helping seniors become more active and fit. He then called me up and said, would the Surrey Police like to come? So now at Bear Creek Park, twice a month, I go and I teach cardio boxing to the seniors. Now, none of them are in shorts, t-shirts or runners, and they love it. And if you go on their TikTok online, you'll see it. It's a great thing. They embrace us. We have between 80 to 100 seniors, and I'm telling you, they get in. They love it. This is what we do at Bear Creek Park. Next slide. Something very dear to me is Special Olympics. Community First, we run Club Fit, which is a athletic program for special needs folks. Tuesday night at EMS, Friday night at an elementary school in North Surrey. And we've been doing that for 2 years. In connection with this, vulnerable folks, a lot of these folks live at Unity, which is a residence here in Surrey. They want to connect with the cops or police officers. They might be a bit afraid to talk to the police. Now they're not. We connect with them this way. There's so many advantages from both in this program. I can tell you this, I'm now on the Surrey Special Olympics board. I do the communications with them. We do 2 upfit programs a week. We also then run the polar plunge that we plan for them, and I'm part of the LETR network as well. So it's all encompassing and engaging. Next slide. Our social media accounts have been very vibrant. The one on the left is mine for Sergeant Dale Choir, and the one on the right is Community First. I can tell you, it's almost like it's the new non-emerge line. For people that may not want to phone the police or talk to the police, we can connect with the police in many different ways. They see our accounts, they see what we post. Is it authentic? Can I really talk to a police officer? Can I engage with them? You can do this through social media, and it's worked well. And had a lot of success when I was with the Vancouver Police prior to this as well. Just engaging with vulnerable folks in the community who may not want to walk into the actual police. Excellent. We want people to walk towards the car, not away from it. And that is what embodies this car. And I'm so happy and thankful to the chief and the executive for allowing us to design this car. Because the feedback we get from the color to the logo to what it represents is that it's trust. And that's what we do. Next slide. Smile's your logo, your personality is your business. You leave others feeling after having experience with you becomes your trademark. That's what we want for the Community First unit, and that's what I would like for the entire surgeon. When we leave that business card to listen to, make that connection with the active listening, compassion, and empathy all there, because that's all goes on that business card. Next slide.
Director Chima, Director Archie, sorry, Johnson.
That was your real cell number, right, on that card?
Sorry,
That was your cell number on that card, right?
my business cell. Yeah,
Yeah. Can I call it?
sure.
Okay, good.
That's what it's there for.
I have no ideas. This was awesome.
We're listening to every voice in the community.
Director Johnson.
Yeah, I just want to commend you for your work. I was up at the Cloverdale Community Church, the kitchen yesterday at their launch of their storehouse hub. And I met 3 of your folks, your team. And it was very interesting because the executive director who was, welcoming all the people and talking a little bit about their activities, zoned in on your group and just wanted to commend you. Well, you weren't mentioned, but your team was, in terms of the work they were doing. And I went up and met Miriam and Jet afterwards, and their enthusiasm and their I'll use the word love for the community was wonderful to see. And that's what we need to have in terms of building relationship with the community. So I just wanted to commend you for that. I had one question though. Like, in terms of the building, I think it's really great in terms of the different communities you've been focusing on. I wonder, I didn't see school in there, and I don't know if that's outside your purview.
So we do. So we have our youth unit. And so with our Community First handle, where they send a lot of emails, we get a lot of requests from schools. We generally send it to the youth unit. If they can't do it, we revisit it. And we have done things with schools. And we actually get a lot of invitations. But we just try to give youth unit a chance, because it is their mandate to work with them. But we do a lot. We actually have done things. Yeah. And that disability treat, which that I talked about first, that a lot of them are.
Yeah, we do have a lot of our mandates do intersect, like Dale was saying, they do intersect with youth, but typically anything youth related will fall within our youth programs for sort of the first sort of engagement, just to keep that sort of level of consistency. But we do lean on each other's team. So Dale will and his team may help out with the youth event, but typically that would be run by the youth section initially. So yeah,
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say as Dale started off this presentation, small but mighty, and I want to recognize Constable Michelle and Ogilvie and Sergeant Dale Queering. These are 3 people that have a higher purpose, and they give a lot of themselves to the community. Thank you.
Couple comments and questions. I commend you for your team. Thank you. Great to hear. Question, is it only just your 3 people in the unit in one part? Yeah. And then coffee with the community. You said you go to the food bank and one other organization. I did not. no. Okay,
Those are the two staples we go to weekly, but we get a lot of requests from organizations. I could honestly run coffee with the community 4 days.
and then walk the beat. Is there certain areas you're focusing on, or can somebody from the community phone you to say, hey, excuse me, hey is a bad word. Can we please have you come out
Yeah.
and walk the beat in our,
Yeah, so we will, I mean, the chief, the executive wants the targets to go out for ourselves, but part of our community person, we have people say, hey, can you come walk here?
thank you.
So Jet wasn't part of your group?
Yeah, Jet was there because he does work down in that area, so he's a good support, but it's
He's not part of your.
Michelle and Ogilvy and myself.
Thank you very much. If there's no more questions or comments from directors, thank you very much for not only the work you're doing, but obviously the presentation, very good, very thorough. And I just like the idea when our board gets to see the good things that are happening out there. So thank you very much. Good work. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Moving along in our agenda, we have one executive director report. So I will turn that over to Jason.
I think we set it out in a confusing way because it was a consent item.
Oh, it is a content item. Oh,
So I don't know if nobody asked for it to be pulled off, but essentially it's a housekeeping matter. And just requires approval for the chair to sign a letter. With the housekeeping matter.
we don't need it.
I think we can, you don't need to vote on it because it was approved with the consent. You approve the agenda.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on to reports, Chief Lipinski.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Very timely, and this dovetails into Dale's presentation, and that is the community programs. And when we became EOJ, we know that the city had programs, the RMP had programs, a lot of good work was being done. So the question is, what do we do with all this information and what's the path forward? So I assigned Superintendent Lav Manget to look at this project, and that is the summary before you. And I'd ask Lav there to do a little bit of a walkthrough of how we got to this summary document and what the future looks like.
Sure. Thank you, Chief, and thank you, directors. So this report here really provides an overview of our community teams, our programs, their mandates, and some of their objectives. It also serves a secondary purpose in terms of guiding our teams to making sure that they're focused on what their mandates and priorities are as well. When you look at this document, most of the programs in this document are being delivered to the community right now. Some of them are still being reviewed and updated, and some of them are brand new programs that are still under construction. What we did at the onset is we needed to create a baseline. So at change of command, we had our own SPS programs, which Superintendent Good was involved in developing the original mandates. And then we also inherited a lot of the RCMP programs. We wanted to make sure that the RCMP programs did not drop at change of command, but we were trying to get a better understanding of what all of our programs were at that time. So we had all of our teams, or both our civilian staff and all of our sworn staff that were involved in community programs. And we did a couple workshops and we whiteboarded everything from every program, every presentation they were running, what they were spending time on, how are they reporting, who are the partners that they were working with, what are the issues that they're seeing, what are their structures, reporting lines. We broke it all down. And then once we created a baseline and understood exactly what our programs were delivering, we needed to understand what the actual vision was or what direction we needed to go in terms of our ideal state. So we did take into consideration several inputs. And at that time, what we looked at was the SPS strategic plan, provincial priorities, goals, and objectives, the City of Surrey community safety and well-being priorities, SPS community consultation results, feedback from our civilian staff who were in the field for many years with the RCMP, feedback from partner agencies and partners, and then also meeting with and reviewing other community programs with at other police agencies across the country. And from there, we were able to identify the direction that we wanted to go. And then really the gaps started to stick out to us a little bit. There was a fair amount of gaps in terms of internal processes, as well as services I think that we should be delivering but weren't delivering. And then from there, we just took it team by team, presentation by presentation. We aligned all of our mandates. And really at the end result is what we came up with this report here, with our community programs on all of our objectives and tasks. And it should be noted, though, that this document is a working document. We are regularly talking to our partners and updating and prepared to pivot as time goes on. So some of the things, if I could just use one example, is that one of the areas that we, as an example, was a newcomer strategy. When we came in, there was a presentation for newcomers, but that's what it was. It was a welcoming newcomer presentation. And we know that there's a lot more opportunities out there. So what we've done now, I have a draft newcomer strategy that we're looking at that went from the one presentation to 9 different modules that covers a variety of topics that we think are topical. So we're taking, in some cases, a presentation into more of an in-depth strategy. So that would just be one example. But really what this document is provides guidance to our membership to stay focused on the programs, unless the community knows in terms of what each of the teams are responsible for. I think beginning to end, it took a few months from beginning to end to get this documented.
Yes, thank you. A key page is 13. And where we wanted to ensure that we covered off on the spectrum of by demographic, by different lines, business lines, I'll call them. So you'll see at the top the different things, whether it's community safety, through road safety and youth and vulnerable population, and all the way through to newcomers, which is the new chart that Lav talked about, and all those programs beneath that. And if this evolves with the community, and we will always be reevaluating, and if the board knows of a program that would like us to have a look at or ask questions about certain program on this chart, we'd be happy to work with you in doing that. So we're always looking for what's the return on investment. And some of these programs have a high ROI, and maybe some of these will have a lower one. And we'll see what the future holds and what we can sub out and how we evolve. We have a certain finite number of police officers and civilians that work on this. And we just want to make it really valuable and tight for the community. Thank you.
Mr. Baines?
I'm really concerned about this newcomers program, because that is where the most of crime is coming from these days. And that is the source of foreign interference also. So please be very careful when you're designing this program. And I think foreign interference should be a part of it.
Okay. Thank you.
And just, I'm not going to count them all. How many programs are you running at present? We know off the top of our head.
Oh, no. Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, I don't have the number offhand, but the teams are busy. And some of these ones we're still sort of phasing in. Some of the ones like our volunteer program is just starting up. We're just in the process of interviewing. We're looking to deploy our new volunteer program this summer. And so some of these programs are run by our volunteers. But there's lots on the go. Yeah, we're pretty excited about it.
Mr. Chair, just under 100.
Okay. Thank you. Director Parma?
Right. 2 comments. Thank you. Under the newcomers that you're developing, are you working with current agencies that work with newcomers to say, okay, here's where the problem might be?
Yes, thank you for that question. All of the programs that we have here, what we've done is that we wanted to make sure that we we're delivering these in silos. So the direction and our sort of approach is to engage agencies in the communities that are also experts in those and develop them, because they already have the networks, they already have the meetings. There's no point us trying to do things separately. So I know that my team that's developing the newcomer strategy has been working with agencies. There's a few different ones. that they're developing different modules with them. And the goal is to deliver it with them and not in silos just ourselves. And that goes across the board. So we're trying to not do things just on our own. If there's an agency that's out there that's an expert in this area and they've already have things established and they need a public safety lens to it, then let's see if we can work with them. So yes.
Thank you. I forgot my train of thought.
Forgot the other one? Okay. If there's no more questions or comments? Oh, sorry, Jason.
That's all
Yeah,
right.
even.
Chair, that's okay. I think, Chair, perhaps the board would like to consider if there were to be a committee that would follow up on some of this. So the chief mentioned that there's the review of the ROI, and so there could follow up to say, working with the department to review the ROI. If there's some development of this new category, some ability to have feedback and input from the board. I don't know which committee it would be, but it might not be a decision for this meeting. You might want to take that one away, but I'm wondering if the board would entertain some direction for the department on that.
Yeah, very much. Krista?
Thank you. Referring to your youth engagement and intervention model. Are you engaged with the current Smart Chart?
Yes. Yeah, we do have members that sit on both those tables.
There are programs that are dedicated to youth at risk.
Is that with the city? Oh, sorry, thank you.
Yeah, school district.
City, school board, and the community, but there's like 21 partners. There's 3 different groups, but several community partners in each.
Just another thought I had is there any relationship at all? I know there's the Surrey hub dealing with multiple different issues. We're developing another hub in South Surrey as we speak. I wonder if there's and maybe not, I sit on the one with the South Surrey, I don't sit out here, but I'm just curious if there might be a time in the future to have engagement with SPS from that as they build that out and as they start to see how that will reveal itself and make itself work.
Mm.
But I think it might be a good.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Make a note of that and follow up.
There's no more questions. Oh, sorry, Director Bates.
There is another area of concern, the school resource officers.
Mhm.
So what is their role? Can you explain it to me now? Because we had an incident in our neighborhood in Grandview High School. A boy asked a girl for a date. She refused. So he came to their house with 3 boys and blew a pipe bomb. So how do you handle these situations? A lot of bullying also going on.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're currently in District 1 and 3 in our school resourcing program. So our youth officers are attached or assigned certain schools, and any criminal activity that's happening at schools on school grounds, they would address those. They would work with the schools and the kids and the parents and address any public safety issues. We're not in District 5 yet, but that's how the model is set up now. So we have school resources officers assigned to high school and elementary schools to work with the principals and the school district. They're quite involved with the school district as well.
And because when the mother complained to I think it was our CMP fellow, he said, tell your girl to just walk the other way and not to look at those boys.
Mhm.
That is not a solution.
I can't speak to that, but yeah.
Yeah.
And as I imagine, as the more districts come along, more officers will be in.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, will be in.
Yeah.
Schools.
We're planning for that.
I remembered my question, or not questions, but more of a comment. So I sit on the DSBIA, and I want to thank Staff Sergeant Stephen Wong for working with the BIA with their bike patrol. So one thing that did come out of there was the Walk the Beat program. They really like that whole walk and engage with the community to know what's going on, because not every unhoused individual needs help. Right? And it's to work with that community to say, okay, where do we need help? But I just want to commend, for just, that's District 1.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your report. Thank you for all the information, and we look forward to connecting in the near future to see how the rest of it grows out and as more districts are coming along. Moving along in our agenda, we are moving to item 2, and that's Chief Constable's verbal update.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Short update this time around. Number one, I want to talk about recruiting. And so the new recruits that will be destined for the JIBC for the September class, we received 18 seats. So that's a significant increase from our last class. Very happy about that. No problem in filling those seats from our perspective. Secondly, the experienced officer class, the plan is for, the target is 20 that will be starting in class in mid-June. And we are on target to fill all those seats. And so really excited that we're still leaning forward and working with the 3 levels of government, the RCMP, their demobilization, our mobilization, our recruiting and placement and training. And so the momentum is there and continues towards the fall. I also want to mention and thank the men and women on the front. Vasaki, that went off very well. Number 2, some of those investigations, complex ones that I've seen, they've done a wonderful job in that community engagement on the front line and just being there for the citizens of Surrey, responding to all the calls. That is my report, Mr. Chair.
Good, Chief. Any comments, questions for Chief's reports? All right, we're moving along. We're on to committee reports. First committee report is our Finance Committee, and I will turn that over to Director Parmar for the year-to-date financial expenditure.
So going to the year to date, finance met earlier weeks ago. So just next slide. Or do I have to? Okay. Sorry, for here, we show that this slide provides a summary of the 2025 policing budget adopted by the city, $296.5 million, with an expected $11.4 million of revenues and recoveries. Our 2025 budget has 3 main components: SPS operations, Lower Mainland Integrated Police Services, and the Provincial Operations Support Unit, RCMP, members supporting SPS. Fundamental planning assumption in the budget is based on the Surrey's targeted policing strength of 810 sworn members in 2025, combined between SPS and RCMP members. Staffing cost is expected to be 71% of the SPS operation. Any questions so far? Next slide. Our year-to-date net expenditures total $55.7 million, 20% of our total budget, so we're on track. Our largest area of cost is salaries and benefits. We've spent $35.1 million on staffing. As a service-based organization, our most significant costs are salaries and benefits, which represent 60% of year-to-date expenses. At the end of March, we had 952 active employees on payroll, 516 sworn members, 327 full-time civilians, and 109 part-time civilians. Food expenses for the Provincial Operations Support Unit are trending higher at 32% of the budget amount due to the expectation that there are more RCMP members in the unit earlier in the year, with gradual demobilization throughout the year as SPS hires more members. Do you have any questions so far? That was that's just, so our recommendation is to receive the report for information.
Questions? Director Sutton?
Yes. Oh, I thought.
Director Sutton? Nope.
No, I think.
Oh, I thought you had a question. I thought you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I see.
There is no motion needed. No. Take this one for,
Not a question, just a comment. We'll just have to keep our eye on the provincial amount,
Yes.
depending on how fast the mobilization is moving. So if it's not moving faster, we have to.
We'll have to adjust the budget.
Yeah.
Accordingly. because those costs will be coming through the RCMP costs come through the SPS budget. So, finance will be monitoring that along with the city.
Thank you for your report. No more questions, no more comments? We'll move along in our agenda then. Moving along to item 2 in committee reports, and that is vehicle procurement update.
So, jump to it. So it was brought to our attention that, so it was brought to finance's attention that, that the committee needed to, give jurisdiction, or sorry, there was a reallocation of funds with the existing budget to authorize the chief constable to purchase 8 police vehicles. So that amount was higher than what the chief constable was authorized to do. So it was a recommendation that we authorize the chief constable to enter into an agreement to purchase 60 vehicles in 2025. Those 8 police vehicles were needed as we transition from RCMP to SPS. It's also discussed that that the RCMP vehicles that were received were pretty much at end of life. So these 8 vehicles were needed right away. And so it's just a reallocation within the budget. It's not additional spending that we're asking for, it's just a reallocation. So it is the conclusion that the board authorized the chief constable to enter into contracts to acquire a total of 60 policing vehicles at approximately 6.6 in 2025, with the required funding to come from the reallocation within the 2025 capital budget.
Before we vote on that, does anybody have any questions or comments? I will get you to repeat that when we vote on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or comments? No?
Do I need to repeat?
I don't think we need to repeat it if we have no question or comment. All in favor of this decision? Opposed? Thank you. Passed?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. We're moving along. On to G, information. We have nothing for information. We have no correspondence. We have no service or policy complaints. We have no new business. Public question and answer. I will turn that over to Jason.
See if there is any members of the public here.
No members of the public.
I think that resolves that.
With that, I will, our next meeting of the Surrey Police Board will take place again here in this boardroom, June 12th, 2025. I don't need to read all this twice. That I would like to make a motion to adjourn and go into closed for our next session. All in favor? Thank you. And with that, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much.